There is a silence that coils beneath the desert's twilight skin. It is not emptiness, it is anticipation. For millennia they have walked just beyond sight, shapes of scorched wind and ember light. The Jinn, not spirits, not demons. Intelligences born of fire and forgotten sands. This is AETHERS Mystic Studios. We are the threshold where the hidden world bleeds into yours. Subscribe now, stand with us at the edge of the unseen. When the veil thins, you will be the first to know. Like this video if your flesh remembers the prickle of ancient eyes. Share it and pass this key to those who dare see. Our archives hold what history buried. Petroglyphs that weep shadow. Manuscripts that breathe. Modern encounters that defy the lie of alone. AETHERS Mystic Studios. When the darkness whispers, we translate.
Whispers in the smoke. The unseen world of the Jinn. The weight of the unseen. The desert at twilight holds a particular kind of silence. It's not empty, but thick, pregnant with the memory of scorching days and the anticipation of cold nights. The wind sculpts dunes into waves, frozen in time, and the fading sun bleeds crimson across an endless expanse. It's in this liminal space, between the known and the hidden, that humanity has long sensed something else. Not gods, not angels, not demons as the West might conceive them, but entities woven from the very fabric of fire and shadow. The Jinn. Their name, whispered for millennia, carries a chill, a primal recognition of the intelligence that moves just beyond the veil of our perception. This is a journey into their world, a world that overlaps our own, a world of ancient origins, shifting forms, chilling myths, and unsettling modern encounters. Prepare not just to learn, but to feel the prickle on your neck, the sense of being watched in an empty room. For the Jinn are not merely legend. They are the unsettling truth in the corner of your eye. Origins, born of the scorching wind. Our story begins not with humanity, but long before. Deep within the rich tapestry of Islamic theology and pre-Islamic Arabian lore lies the genesis of the Jinn. They are not fallen angels, but a distinct creation. As articulated in the Quran, Surah Al-Hijr 15:26-27, Surah Ar-Rahman 55:15, Allah fashioned humans from clay, angels from light, and the Jinn from smokeless fire, Nar al-Samum, often interpreted as the scorching desert wind, the pure, intense essence of flame without visible smoke. This origin imbues them with a fundamental difference. Free will, like humans, but a nature forged in an element both ephemeral and potent. Pre-Islamic Arabia teemed with beliefs in these unseen beings. They were the spirits of the desert, the capricious inhabitants of ruins, lonely places, and untamed wilderness. Tribes sought their favor or feared their wrath, attributing unexplained illnesses, sudden winds, and poetic inspiration or madness to their influence. They were complex, neither wholly good nor wholly evil, but powerful and easily offended. Figures like the Shaitan, Satans who refused to bow to Adam, emerged from the ranks of the Jinn, highlighting their capacity for rebellion and pride. Islamic revelation codified and expanded upon these beliefs. The Quran dedicates an entire surah to them, Surah Al-Jinn, revealing their existence, their awareness of God, their divisions into believers and disbelievers, and their ability to eavesdrop on the heavens, a privilege revoked, leading them to seek knowledge through other means. Key figures like Iblis, the archetypal Satan, are explicitly identified as Jinn, not a fallen angel, cementing their role as beings capable of profound choices and profound corruption. They lived in societies, had religions, and faced judgment, mirroring humanity, yet remaining fundamentally other. The labyrinth of myth, forms, powers, and peril. To understand the Jinn is to navigate a labyrinth of chilling possibilities. Their very nature defies easy categorization, making them profoundly unsettling. Shapeshifters and masters of illusion. Perhaps their most terrifying ability is their fluidity. Jinn are masters of metamorphosis. They can appear as animals, snakes, scorpions, black dogs, or cats, especially those with unsettling eyes. They can manifest as whirlwinds or sudden, unnatural gusts of icy or furnace-hot air. Most chillingly, they can take human form, sometimes breathtakingly beautiful, sometimes grotesquely deformed, sometimes appearing as someone familiar, recently deceased, or even as a perfect doppelganger. This shape-shifting isn't mere disguise. It's an intrinsic part of their being, making trust and perception impossible. What looks like a lost child in the woods, a helpful stranger on a dark road, or a loved one acting strangely could be something far more ancient and predatory. Their illusions can manipulate environments, creating phantom sounds, smells, and sights designed to lure, confuse, or terrify. Possession and the unraveling mind. The concept of jinn possession, mass, is deeply embedded in folklore and religious texts. It's not merely demonic rage, it's a terrifying invasion. Jinn are believed capable of entering the human body, co-opting the senses, twisting thoughts, and manipulating emotions. Symptoms attributed to possession range from violent convulsions, superhuman strength, and speaking in tongues, to deep, unshakable depression, crippling anxiety, sudden phobias, hearing voices, and self-destructive impulses. The line between mental illness and spiritual affliction blurs horrifically. Exorcisms, ruqya, involving recitations from the Quran, prayers, and sometimes specific rituals, are the traditional recourse, a desperate battle for control of one's own soul against an unseen, parasitic intelligence. The ecology of fear, haunts and harbingers. Jinn are tied to specific, often liminal spaces. Abandoned buildings, crumbling ruins, desolate crossroads, deep wells, and dense forests are their domains. Bathrooms, especially at night, due to their perceived impurity, are considered vulnerable places. They are particularly active during twilight, the wolf's hour, and the depths of night. Certain animals are intrinsically linked. Owls screeching are seen as ill omens, potentially jinn associated. Black dogs guarding cemeteries might be more than strays. Whistling at night is often forbidden in folklore, believed to attract them or mimic their calls. Knocking sounds within walls, objects moving inexplicably, sudden drops in temperature, and the feeling of an unseen hand touching you. These are the subtle, then escalating signs of their presence. They feed on neglect, on forgotten places, and on human fear. A fractured society. Jinn are not a monolith. Lore speaks of kings and kingdoms among them, mirroring human structures. They have tribes, families, religions, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, pagan, and varying levels of power and morality. Some are benign or even helpful, bound by ancient pacts or simply disinterested in humanity. Others are mischievous tricksters, delighting in minor chaos. But a significant portion, particularly the disbelievers and the powerful ancient ones, are malevolent. These are the ones who inspire true terror. The Ifrit, powerful, cunning, often malign. The Marid, strong, rebellious, associated with water. The Shayatin, devils, tempters, whisperers of evil. And the Ghoul, graveyard dweller, shapeshifter, consumer of flesh. Their motivations are alien, ancient grudges, envy of humanity, simple malice, or a predatory hunger for spiritual or physical energy. Echoes in the modern world. The unseen endures. The age of science and reason has not banished the jinn. Instead, their legend has adapted, finding fertile ground in the anxieties of the modern world and the enduring power of belief. urban legends and digital whispers. The core fears persist, translated into contemporary settings. Haunted apartments where furniture moves and whispers echo in empty rooms, often attributed to Jinn, not ghosts. Unexplained technological glitches. Phones dying, lights flickering, static-filled voices on lines are sometimes seen as their interference. Sleep paralysis, that horrifying state of being awake but unable to move, often accompanied by a crushing presence or shadowy figures, is frequently interpreted across the Middle East and South Asia as a jinn sitting on the sleeper's chest, caboose. Online forums buzz with personal testimonies. Encounters on lonely highways, figures vanishing in security camera footage, objects flying off shelves in new homes built over ancient pathways or forgotten graves. The fear remains potent, a constant undercurrent. Cultural permeation. Jinn are deeply woven into popular culture. They are central figures in classic literature like 1001 Nights. Aladdin's genie is a powerful, wish-granting jinn, albeit sanitized. Modern Arabic, Turkish, and South Asian cinema regularly features them in horror films, often exploring possessions or the consequences of disturbing ancient places. TV series delve into exorcisms and the clash between tradition and modernity in dealing with the unseen. Video games incorporate them as powerful entities or antagonists. These depictions, while sometimes fantastical, keep the concept alive and visceral for new generations. Scholarship and skepticism. Academics approach the Jinn phenomenon through lenses of anthropology, psychology, folklore, and religious studies. They document the vast array of beliefs, practices, and rituals associated with them across diverse Muslim and pre-Muslim cultures. Anthropologists like Dr. Amira El-Zain, Islam, Arabs, and the intelligent world of the Jinn explore their social and cosmological significance. Psychologists study the cultural interpretation of mental health phenomena through the lens of possession. Neurologists investigate sleep paralysis and its biological basis, offering scientific explanations for experiences traditionally attributed to Jinn. This creates a fascinating tension, the undeniable power of belief and cultural narrative versus the search for empirical understanding. Yet even the most rigorous skeptic must acknowledge the profound realness of the experience for those who believe they have encountered the unseen. The encounter, a chilling testimony. To truly grasp the terror, we must move beyond theory and into experience. The following account is a composite based on documented testimonies, folklore, and psychological descriptions, designed to evoke the visceral horror of an encounter. Imagine the voice of the narrator growing quieter, more strained. The air in the old house wasn't just cold, it was a presence. Sarah had felt it the moment she inherited her great-aunt's isolated villa overlooking the Aegean. The locals in the nearby village had been polite but distant when she mentioned the address. An old woman had simply crossed herself and muttered, "Bad stones." Sarah dismissed it as superstition. The house was beautiful, if neglected. Weathered stone, sea views, and a history she was eager to uncover. The first nights were quiet, filled with the sound of the sea and the settling of old wood. Then came the scratching, not mice. Something heavier, deliberate, inside the walls, sometimes seeming to come from within the walls themselves. Then the whispers, not loud enough to discern words, but a sibilant murmur, like dry leaves skittering across stone, always just out of earshot, often near the unused fireplace in the main hall. Sleep became fractured. She'd wake, gasping, convinced someone had just left the room, catching only the faintest scent of ozone and damp earth. The temperature fluctuations were unnerving. One afternoon, working in the sun-drenched library, a wave of icy air enveloped her, so intense her breath fogged. The room remained bright. The sun still streamed through the window, but the cold was bone deep, carrying with it a wave of profound, inexplicable sadness that brought tears to her eyes. It passed as suddenly as it came, leaving her shaken. Then came the figure. Late one night, returning from the bathroom, she saw a man standing at the end of the dark hallway. He was tall, indistinct in the gloom, wearing what looked like old-fashioned, tattered clothes. He didn't move. Sarah froze, heart hammering. "Hello," she called, her voice thin. The figure remained. She flicked the hallway light switch. Nothing. The bulb was dead. As her eyes adjusted, the figure seemed to ripple, its edges blurring like smoke. A low growl, more vibration than sound, emanated from it. Sarah stumbled back into her bedroom, slamming the door and pressing her back against it. She heard no footsteps, but a moment later, something heavy thudded against the wood. Then silence. The next day, desperate, she sought help. Not the police, but an elderly imam from the village. He listened gravely, his face etched with concern. He walked the house, his lips moving in silent prayer. He stopped abruptly in the main hall, near the fireplace. "Here," he said, his voice low. "Something very old, very angry. It believes this place is still its own." He explained it was likely an Ifrit, bound to the land long before the house was built, awakened by her presence, her renovation plans a desecration in its eyes. He performed ruqya, reciting verses from the Quran with an intensity that filled the house with palpable energy. Sarah felt a pressure building, a resistance. Objects rattled on shelves unseen. A vase shattered in an empty room. The whispering became a furious hissing, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. The imam remained steadfast, his voice rising above the chaos. The air grew thick, heavy, then suddenly still. The oppressive weight lifted, replaced by an eerie, fragile calm. The imam warned her. The entity was weakened, pushed back, but its connection to the place was deep. "It may sleep again," he said, exhaustion lining his face. "But anger like that does not forget. It watches. Be cautious. Respect the silence. Do not invite it back." Sarah sold the house shortly after. She couldn't shake the feeling. Even miles away, in the bustle of the city, sometimes in the dead of night, she'd wake to the faint scent of ozone and damp earth, and the terrifying certainty that something, from a great distance, had just turned its attention towards her. Conclusion. Living with the unseen. The story of the Jinn is not a relic. It is a living, breathing narrative woven into the fabric of cultures across the globe, particularly within the Muslim world and its diaspora. It speaks to a fundamental human experience, the awareness that we do not see everything, that the world holds mysteries beyond our comprehension, and that some of these mysteries possess intelligence and agency. The Jinn embody our fear of the dark, the unknown, the violation of our minds and bodies, and the ancient, untamed power of the world that existed long before us. They are a reminder of boundaries between the seen and unseen, the sacred and the profane, the human and the other. Rituals of protection, verses recited, amulets worn, precautions taken in certain places or times. These are not mere superstitions to millions, but vital safeguards against an unpredictable and often hostile parallel reality. The enduring power of the Jinn lies in their ambiguity. Are they literal beings of smokeless fire, manifestations of psychological phenomena interpreted through a specific cultural lens, archetypal representations of humanity's shadow, or perhaps something else entirely, existing in a dimension we barely perceive? Science may offer explanations for specific symptoms, but it cannot erase the profound, chilling experience reported by countless individuals across centuries and continents. To dismiss the Jinn is to dismiss a vast reservoir of human belief, fear, and folklore. To accept them fully is to step into a world where the shadows breathe and the fire has eyes. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, in the unsettling space of what if? That space, the space between heartbeats, in the corner of your vision when you turn too quickly, is where the Jinn reside. They are the chill down your spine on a warm night, the sudden, irrational fear in a familiar place, the whisper in the silence that wasn't silence after all. They are the unseen world, forever watching, forever reminding us that we are not alone. And that, perhaps, is the most chilling thought of all. The desert wind sighs. The embers glow faintly, and in the spaces between, something stirs,